I don't know why, but my video keeps cutting short. I saw a post recently of somebody who was a little bit nervous about driving stick for the first time. Kind of was, I think they were just kind of looking for some honest feedback, and I just want to put some concerns to rest. And just since I had a video about driving, riding a motorcycle and kind of how to operate the clutch, I wanted to kind of just apply that over here, because that's where I learned all of those philosophies. First things first, when in doubt, clutch in. If you're in gear, something's going wrong. If you're in the wrong gear, if you're doing whatever the panic situation is, whatever it is that's making you nervous, push that clutch in, and now you're going to be okay. Just operate it like a normal car. Keep the clutch in. Get yourself, if you're in a gear, get yourself out of that gear, and then you can alleviate the clutch, and now it's going to operate like a regular car in neutral. Do whatever you need to do. It doesn't matter. If you missed a gear, if you were supposed to hit fifth and you accidentally went into third, push the clutch in, pull it out of gear, put it wherever it needs to go, let the clutch back out. That's the first thing I want to do is put that concern to rest. When in doubt, clutch in. Now let's talk about the clutch. First, I want you to do exactly what I'm doing here. Push it all the way in, let it come all the way out. Get used to that travel distance, get used to the feel, get used to how much pressure it takes to push it in and out, get used to how far it travels. You don't have to do this 50 million times, but do it until you have a relative grasp of it. Do it until, I want you to do it on a slow count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, look, I've got 7, 8, and 9. Do it nice and slow. Get used to the control. Here's the truth. There's a point on that when you're traveling from the bottom coming up where your engagement is going to start, and it's going to change the way the car feels. It's going to change the way it sounds. You might feel a little bit of vibration. It might do whatever. I don't want you to panic. My gear is parked. If I pop this clutch, my car's not going to be happy, but I probably won't break anything. I'm not going to pop the clutch, but what I am going to do is let you hear it. Listen carefully. Hear it? Did you hear it? Here, I'm just going to put my foot on the brake now. It wants to move forward. You see that? It almost makes a slightly lower tone of sounds. So what I want you to do, find an open parking lot, a nice big open abandoned parking lot, and repeat this practice. Get used to that bite point, to the point. Take your car off of park. You want to be on flat level. You want it to be allowed to move, and you want there to be nothing to be too concerned with. Even if you have a buddy that can be with you, a partner, a spouse, a friend, something, get that person over here beside you. Let them tell you, hey, look, break in. And if it's a panic situation, remember, oh my God, boom. That's all you got to do. Ready? Oh my God. That's all you got to do right there. Just push this in, and you can stop. You can do whatever you have to do. When in doubt, clutch in. No reason to panic. And here's the trick. Here's the coolest part about it all. Are you ready for this? The worst gear, the hardest gear to learn is to go from standing still into first. It's where you're going to experience the most And part of that is some of the design flaw. You'll learn about all that once you start looking at the way people mod their cars. Once you have going from 0 to something down and you make that transition, it's the exact same process going from first as it is going into second. You literally clutch in, make the movement with the stick to where it needs to go, and clutch back out. You might have to add a little bit of gas to this equation, and that's what we're going to practice next. So once you've got that first little bit down to where the engine starts to make a slight little change, the car starts to maybe slowly but surely roll forward, eventually we need to learn how to go past that point. And the way that we go past that point safely is by adding just a feather of gas. Look at this. Here's idle. Here's a feather of gas, right? When you start hitting that bite point, you might see that needle start to drop closer and closer to that 500 mark. That's because it's got load on the engine. Give it just a little feather of gas. You can even hold it out of line by tapping it over and over. I don't know if you can see that through my... See what I'm doing? So go past that point, giving it just a little bit of gas. And what's going to happen is suddenly the car is going to go, oh, and it's going to be willing to go. And then as you tap that gas, you're actually going to be moving fully on with it. It's going to be reactive. The car's responsive in first gear. Congratulations, you've now gotten into first. The process to get into second is exactly the same. Go ahead and let your speedometer get up at this point. I would practice going into first gear several times first, but once you've got that down, once you're comfortable with that, go to, say, a mall. A mall's not a bad spot for something like this. Oftentimes they've got a little road wrapping around them. Hit that road wrapping around it once you're in first gear. Go into there and you're going to repeat the process. You're going to push the clutch all the way in. You're going to move the stick from first right on back to second. Here's a trick I'll teach you real quick too. First, second, pressure going this way. To go into third, pushing forward, pushing forward. Go into fourth, straight back. To go into fifth, push over and up. Go into fifth, sixth, just like that. Literally, get used to that movement. You don't have to go that fast, but if you start driving like an asshole, you're gonna want, see, even I do dumb shit sometimes. I almost tried to throw it in gear without clutching. All right, there's the rambling part we warned you about. So once you get out onto that little road and you're in first gear and you're rolling, clutch in, pull back into second, and then you're going to slowly let the clutch out. Now, you don't have to go by the whole 6-second rule. What you're going to notice as you start doing this in first gear, and what's going to become apparent once you go into second gear, is that there's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of space in this actual travel that you see my foot going through here. Let's see if I can get you a better view here. So not touched, no pressure, all the way down. Only about 2 inches of that requires you to have any kind of accelerator control or anything like that. Once you are through that 2 inches, you could technically just rip your foot right off of the pedal, and although you'll go from like 50% bite to 100% bite right away, it's not going to be too impactful. The majority of what you need to learn exists in 1.5 to 2 inches of that travel. If you learn where that space is, you learn to have the finer control right there and let yourself travel bottom to top, because there is a complete and incomplete engagement point that comes outside of that little 1.5 to 2 inch zone. I hope I'm not overcomplicating this. Long story short, learn the bite point by doing that first gear shifting in and out. That same process is how you go into second gear, only you can probably do it a little bit faster, and you can do it, I don't want to say more aggressively, but you don't have to be super shy about it. You're gonna be shy about it to start. By all means, be shy about it, because it's a little nerve-wracking when you stall a car. It absolutely is. It's the car will lurch. It'll be a jumping sensation. I don't want to do it to my car and risk injuring it. I'm modded and I don't have a warranty, but just to show you guys that typically nothing bad will happen, here you go. You ready? There you go. There's a stalled car. Clutch in, take it out of gear. Just fine. So here's what I'm trying to impress upon you. You're gonna be okay. See, even I, knowing that nothing bad was gonna happen, the worst thing that was my parking brake. That's the only thing that I did bad there. That's not good for the parking brake. The engine could have taken it just fine. Everything here is happy and healthy. I'm just gonna back my car up a hair. A smooch. Hill assist. I naturally lean forward. Right now I'm in hill assist. I take my foot off the brake. It holds for a couple of seconds before it lets me roll. Push on the brake, holds for a couple of seconds. This applies both ways. Here's how we work it. Feather. And now look where we are now. See? Same thing going forward. I'm just going to show it to you. Foot off the gas. And the only reason I'm recommending that you guys do the feathering, I don't do that because that's not the way to control it. It's easier when you're doing reverse to feather a little bit, because reverse is a little bit more finicky than first gear. But, sorry, it's getting hot in here. But so that's basically what you're going to do. Don't freak out about stalling it. That's all there is to it. It lurches a little bit. It's not the end of the world. You're not going to kill yourself. You're not going to kill your car. learn the bite point in the clutch, understand that the most important portion of the travel is right where you start feeling that bite in the transmission, and then right where it's kind of fully engaged. Like that first 2 inches of travel is barely anything at all, and really I don't feel much of anything for probably the first inch of lift up as well. All the magic happens in a little teeny window. Start with fluttering until you've actually learned your accelerator's response level, and you know the difference between how far to push it to get a 2,000 RPM blip or a 3,000 RPM blip. Once you have the finer control, it'll be easier to just do it in a little push and know, hey, that's 1.5, hey, that's 1, hey, that's none, you know. So the little light flutters will kind of help a little bit. If you smell a smell that you've never smelled from a car before, that's your clutch. Be mindful that when you're driving down the road, you're not leaving your foot on top of your clutch, because what happens is just resting your foot, you see that? Here's me lifting it up. Now I'm coming out of contact. So if you just rest your foot there, you'll be pushing that down, and whether you like it or not, even just riding with it down like that does wear certain things out in advance of when they need to. Get used to this. Get used to this. All right, now when you're first learning, you're probably going to hover. That's fine. You're probably going to wear your leg out a little bit more, especially if you're being mindful of not resting like this, because if you're going to hover, you have to hover not touching, because it's very difficult when you're driving to know whether you're just hovering with a barely touch or with, you know, an inch down. So my advice is don't hover. What else do I got for you guys? That's it. Oh, for the person specifically whose post I saw, I don't think you'll see this video, but just in case I post it on your thing and find it again, I'm 42. I have bad knees. There's nearly no cartilage in this one, and this one is not very far behind. I've got a couple of legitimate injuries in this guy that are yet to be addressed because I'm a loser. But long story short, do I hate the stick? The only time I hate the stick is in bad traffic. Other than that, it is absolutely my preference. I've owned something like 14 different vehicles. 4 of them have been stick. I prefer stick, hands down, without a doubt. But there is a shelf life, I think, to being able to drive one effectively. And you know, if you consider yourself a good driver and people around you tend to agree with you being a decent driver, something tells me you'll have the mental acuity to pick up on this relatively quick. The only thing I will just once again remind you of, when in doubt, clutch in. Nothing bad can happen when the clutch is in. All right, guys, thanks for watching.